filmed in front of a live studio audience for the last time of 2021.
Yeah,
it's the Dicebreaker Podcast featuring your host, Matt Jarvis.
There's only one more pod till Christmas, and this is it.
After all, there's only one more pod till
but that's after Christmas.
You two just completely ignored my song.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a reference to the Muppet Christmas Carol, as all things should be and are.
The greatest Christmas film ever made.
Michael Caine just tweeting the Muppet Christmas Carol box art the other day, just without any context.
What
hello.
context do you need for that?
Well, yeah, exactly, quite. I think he also just tweeted a picture of his own face, so...
Excellent.
The Muppets themselves went to great lengths to reference it this year, including Miss Piggy talking about... So Kermit did this is Muppets drama on Twitter. Kermit did a
Do you follow all
tweet.
the Muppets on Twitter?
Yeah, I do. Kermit did a tweet that referenced his beloved Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Who was in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And then Miss Piggy did a tweet not mentioning Kermit whatsoever. And people were like, oh my goodness.
This is like the Crazy Frog Twitter account manager liking the tweet that said, like this tweet if you need help or whatever. Because they're like having to sell Crazy Frog NFTs.
Yeah, and there's the Crazy Frog account coming for like the Bob Ross NFTs, I think.
Oh my god.
That whole thing is a mess. Anyway, hello. We're here to not talk about NFTs.
This is your safe space.
It's the Dicebreaker Podcast. It's the last live Dicebreaker Podcast of 2021. I'm your host, Matt Jarvis. I'm happy to be joined by two of the team this week. We've got Alex Meehan.
Hello. I'm feeling festive. I've got my jumper on.
I was about to say, got a red jumper on. Very festive.
Yeah, I've got a Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. I've got a Paw Patrol advent calendar.
We're on the move, is I believe a quote from Paw Patrol.
Is it? I've never seen it.
I think so. We were playing with my wife's niece or something like that, and she was playing with Everest, the dog from Paw Patrol, and she just very sweetly kept going, "We're on the move," and, like moving it around, and it was honestly, cute. It was just adorable. Yeah,
it's those moments where you're like, maybe I could have children. and then you're like,
can't relate.
Who is also here, Matt Jarvis?
Also here, Michael Wills Whelan. I was about to call you the childless Michael Wills Whelan.
I mean, it's true. It's not.
It is technically
it's not a very
true,
useful
but...
descriptor, but it is true.
You do have two hairy children.
Yeah,
I do
as
have
one pet owners will relate. Yes.
Yeah.
Very demanding, hairy. Portly child.
I will say that Rosie, we're talking about my cats, but Rosie has like very fluffy backs of her legs, so I call her fluffy trousers every now and again.
Her bloomers. Those are her bloomers.
Her bloomers, yeah.
Yeah,
or her chaps. Yes, hello, I'm here. Thank you for having me, Matt Jarvis.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on the truly the jorts of board game podcasts.
Wait, okay, Matt Jarvis. Which one of us is Jorts and which one of us is Jean?
Out of you two?
Yep.
Oh, this is.
I think Meehan is.
I think I know the answer to. I'm Jorts.
I can see that. I think Jorts has like big goblin energy,
big chaotic goblin energy.
The thing is, Jorts might be as described as the himbo one. But Jorts is also, I think, the most beloved one, and I value attention above all else. So I'm happy with being the stupid one. It means everyone loves me.
Which of the Dicebreaker team is most likely to be replaced by a picture of a sweet potato on the site?
I want margarine put on my back, please.
I don't understand what's happening because I still haven't seen
Wheels.
this.
It's let's if you haven't read the story of Jorts and Jean, I highly recommend it. But let's move on to what we're here to actually discuss, which is board games, tabletop games, and RPGs, and all kinds of things like that. It will be a slightly shorter podcast than usual because, hey, it's almost the holidays. There's not loads to talk about. And actually, we're going to head off and have our team Christmas do after this. So you can't stop us from having a bit of fun.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, you can't do anything. You're across the other side of the internet.
You're just a word on a screen.
We like our listeners.
Thank you for your words.
Please don't insult them.
So let's get into it, shall we? We're going to there's not loads of news this week, so we're going to keep that particularly short. We're just going to chat about what we've been up to recently, and then we're going to throw out some suggestions for what you should play over the holidays.
Yeah.
Obviously, wherever you are in the world, make sure to stay safe and keep others around you safe, depending on the various guidelines in place and safety recommendations. But even if you're just having a quiet one at home by either yourself or with someone close to you, we hope you enjoy it, and we'll have some recommendations that will hopefully suit you. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, let's dive in. Alex, Meehan, what have you been up to lately?
Oh my goodness, straight to me.
A quick shout out before you begin, Meehan, to David Denner Flanagan for the comment. Digimon wear jorts. That's all I wanted to. I just wanted to
canon.
read that out.
Yeah.
There is there one that wears trousers?
I think so.
Remember.
Digimon,
almost certainly.
Digimon dress exclusively in clothes from Hot Topic.
It sounded like you were reciting the lyrics to the Digimon theme there.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.
Yeah, they wear Hot Topic. I've never even seen a Hot Topic, by the way.
I thought you were about to say Digimon, and I was about to be very upset with you.
I'm aware of the vibe of Hot Topic, though. It's basically Claire's accessories, but for Americans.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm very aware of Claire's accessories. The amount of plastic in that store is disgusting.
Yeah, I mainly associate Claire's accessories as the place where people go to get piercings.
Don't go there to get a piercing.
I did when I was 11. I got my first piercings, and amazingly enough, I was blessed with not having an infection.
Yeah. I would say a good 70% of the people I know that went to Claire's accessories for this is not to besmirch Claire's accessories as a company, but speaking anecdotally from my own personal experiences, that's what I found.
Like most companies, they've probably done something.
Yeah,
evil.
Eventually we'll get called out for, I don't know, burning the moon or something, because as long as you have more than 4 people in a team, as soon as you hit that point, you become a company, and therefore evil is on the way.
Yeah, looking forward to the Claire's accessories NFTs. Claire's access and the FTs. It didn't work. They'll find a way.
You tried.
Everyone else has.
It will be like a 3D spinning model of one of those spiky ear studs with the pink and black.
Oh god, I remember those. Yeah. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Other than not going to Claire's accessories,
no, I don't go to Claire's accessories. That time has passed. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, Mr. Jarvis. I've literally not played any board games.
That's fine. You don't have to have played something. You can just.
We played Trivial Pursuit yesterday.
We did, yes.
For me, was a very disappointing experience.
Played Trivial Pursuits, plural.
We played 11 different variants of a Trivial Pursuit, all at the same time.
Yeah,
and if you would like to see that, then you can. Just have a look at our live streams.
It felt more like the Star Wars Pursuit more than anything.
Well, it's because there were 2 Star Wars decks. And also, all of the regular Trivial Pursuit questions kind of just blur into one deck, really. Because you don't really notice the difference between the 80s questions and the 90s questions.
Although it's questions from 1972.
Yeah, about 80% of my questions were about pieces of obscure US history. And as someone who has only ever studied, the Roaring Twenties era of US history, and with vague amounts of knowledge about the rest of it. It was a massive, I'd say it's a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah, I was upset that I never actually got a SpongeBob SquarePants question, because that's all I wanted, really. Because I feel like I was the most knowledgeable SpongeBob SquarePants representative on the table. I didn't get one.
I was done dirty by Lord of the Rings questions. At least there are multiple SpongeBob questions. There was one Lord of the Rings question. It was not asked to me.
No, but I doubt you would have gotten it because it was so obscure.
It was hard,
Yeah, they were hard.
I mean, it was the true Trivial Pursuit experience in that it took too long. Nobody really wanted to finish it, and we just ended early.
I mean, I sort of semi-achieved my one goal of answering a question right, but it wasn't my question.
Yeah, and no one got more than 1 cheese.
No.
So it was a great experience all around.
It was just a nice reminder of why I don't why I've not played Trivial Pursuit in about 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you actually? Here's a question to fill this podcast with so-called content. Do you have
content.
a go-to trivia game that isn't Trivial Pursuit? I will add a quick plug that we do actually have a list that is exactly this on the website. But I'm curious if either of you have kind of like a go-to quiz game.
My family are the only ones who care about playing trivia games, and they will just play Trivial Pursuit. I will say that Trivial Pursuit is slightly better if you reduce the number of like pieces playing. Like, you're much better having 2 teams of 5 than like 5 teams of 2, because it just makes it a lot less insufferable. But yeah, I've heard that Mr. Lister is pretty good, but that is literally my only experience of other trivia games, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean...
Wait, no. What's the ridiculous one where you have to do 3 things at once?
Stay Cool.
Stay Cool.
Stay Cool.
Stay Cool is
so
technically
good.
a trivia game, and I love that
Yes,
game.
it
There
is.
you go. That's me.
Stay Cool is a really good pick. Yeah, I guess it is a trivia game.
It's like a third trivia.
Yeah. I introduced that to my family last year, and by family we mean my mother and my brother, because my dad refuses to play any board games whatsoever.
My mum's like that. She's like, "Oh, I don't like games." It's like, okay,
He
that's a pretty big chunk of the human experience that you're writing off, Mum.
Essentially, my dad just gets very bored very quickly. So unless something is like gripping his attention span, he will just get up in the middle of something and just leave.
Oh wow!
Because he's like, this no longer entertains me. I'm going to now watch this football match from 1986 or something. Like on my phone.
This is like a classic Christmas experience that I think, at least I can relate to. I would guess there are quite a few folks out there who can also relate to it, because I think that, like, quote, traditional board games, they are quite like boring for a lot of people. It's like
slow.
Partly because you've played them, and partly because they're designed to just eat time. Like, I have memories of being younger, and we used to play Cluedo every Christmas. And
but you were younger?
Like clockwork.
My
yeah,
God.
we don't play it so much now. We play different board games, but like clockwork, my granddad would just fall asleep in the chair like moments before. As soon as the Cluedo board was mentioned or brought into the vicinity, that was it. Yeah,
a little bit tired. Ooh.
Yeah.
He had a special ability that as soon
sense.
as he heard the words Cluedo,
Yeah,
I
his
see
body
board
would
games
just
about
shut
dead
down.
people.
yeah, and so I think one of the nice things about being someone that has a lot of board games and can suggest everything all the time is the fact that, like, last year we played Point Salad and Camelot and Azul instead.
I
and
am
the Christmas
very
before
excited to teach my parents Camelot.
Nice.
And my
Second
brother.
edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second edition. Unfortunately, the art's not as good, but the game is
How dare
still
you.
fantastic. And the game is better because it adds the other camel as well. But the reason I'm so excited about it is my brother. I told you guys about this, I think. But my brother Treeb, who is now an investment banker, he used to go to like the amusements that appear. And he just figured out how to win the horse racing game. Like,
wow.
he came back with like more money than a child should have because he just
counting.
He just learned how to camel count, yeah. But specifically the Arabian Derby, I remember him playing. So I feel like this will be a real blast from the past for him. Although it probably won't be quite as readable as the automated machine.
And knowing having told us that all your other many brothers are incredibly competitive.
Very.
I fully anticipate this being an experience where you're sort of just sat there while, this investment banker brother just absolutely wipes the floor with you.
Yeah, I think it's probably just going to be him, to be honest, because we're the only ones still in the UK. And given the current state of the world, it's probably another disjointed Christmas. But yeah, no, so I'm hoping that my mum and dad will get on board with it as well. Because as I said, my mum is notoriously difficult to get to play a game. I've played things like I've played Timeline with her.
That's a good one. That's a great trivia game. Actually.
That is a good trivia game.
That
is a really good trivia game. For anyone who's not aware, Timeline is basically just a deck of little cards with like depending on the set that you get, it could be inventions or like historical events or like music and film. On one side, it just shows you the. Sorry,
what the hell was that?
Zoe is recording their Christmas. They're like giving each other their presents for Christmas, and I think Zoe just got a very lovely one. So sorry, on one side of the card is just the invention or whatever it is, and on the other side it shows you the date that it was actually invented. So you put down on the timeline of cards that you've got in front of you where you think it was. So you guess. You don't have to say, oh, it was 1974. You just have to be like, well, it must have been between 1990 and 1982 because those are the cards that are down. So the more cards that get played, the bigger the timeline gets, the more tricky it gets, and it's genuinely a really good game. And you think that you'd get like too good at it, like you'd remember everything, but you really don't. And you can just combine sets as well to sort of mix things up. But yeah, no, I really recommend Timeline, and that's one of the only things my mum's been able to play with me that she actually likes.
Good.
But also, I will say, I am excited to try and get her to play Camelot because I think it's just simple enough. For
yeah, on the
families.
edge. I mean, I'm tempted to attempt it as well, because I've slowly been able to wean my brother and my mother onto slightly more complicated games. Like a few weeks ago, we played Hanabi.
Okay.
Which was it was a difficult experience because my mother's memory is just horrendous. So obviously, like her trying to remember where her cards are and what they were, we had to just continuously remind her of the information she already has. But like, I think I can get them on board with Camelot. Like my mum is really into the idea of playing board games. It's just if they're a certain level of complexity, then she's just out. But you'll love this, Wheels. A trivia game that we played quite a lot, and I think it's a trivia game, is called Who's in the Bag?
I swear every game that you've ever played with your family is a weird Poundland knockoff of like something that's actually been heard of. Like,
It's
don't
not a
tip the
Poundland.
waiter.
No, it's not a Poundland knockoff. It's like it's a game where you have a bag.
Yeah. And you have to guess who's in
the
it.
bag, there's we get in the bag. In the bag, there are all these little cards that have like names of various famous people on them, and then you have to pick one, and then everyone else has to ask you questions to try and guess who they think you are, and that's literally it. So we used to play that one quite a lot. That was hot in our household. This was in the before times.
That was a real hot number.
yeah. This was before I sort of started attempting getting my family to play board games. Now I've managed to. They're really into cockroach poker. So I'm going to try them with Cheating Moth.
Yeah, I don't know if my family will get on board with Cheating Moth, but I'm going to try.
They finally understood and really got cockroach poker, so I'm going to try them with Cheating Moth. And I'm going to try that cockroach dance game as well that I got from Germany too. And I've also got. This has now just become games that we're going to play over Christmas.
We've got to skip.
Well, look, this is what it's fine. Like if that's where we get to now, that's all good.
We also got a copy of that Soundmaker board. Card game
that was awesome,
from
Blue Orange.
Blue Orange. And I feel like that might be on the level. Like party games, they tend to get into. We're supposed to be seeing not a huge amount of people, but a few people. Whether or not that continues, I don't know. Depends on the state of the country, etc., etc. But they tend to like party games, and obviously, like Telestrations is just that always comes out like around Christmas time. Although I do still need to get new marker pens because every year my marker pens run out. So there you go. Matthew Jarvis.
Hello.
Oh wait, Mr. Whelan, have you been up to anything?
I will say.
My goodness.
I've been listening to this. No, yeah, no. I will say and I think Chase has been playing it as well. But I've been playing just every now and again, Babel Royale, which is a free-to-play game that is on Steam recently, which is Battle Royale Scrabble, and it's genuinely really cool. So you have you do the whole you are a letter. You always start as A. And you're parachuting down onto a Scrabble board, and on the Scrabble board you've got randomly placed, 3 times score, and you also have these little power ups, which can delete letters around you, or can mix up the letters that you have available to you, or stuff like that. And when you land, the board, as you'd imagine, just like Battle Royale, shrinks over time, and you have a health bar that goes down if you're out in the red zone. But the way that you eliminate other players is if you have your word next to you. So every time you spell a word, the word that you last spelt is basically where your player is. So if you started with I don't know, all, the letter all, and then you connected that L into a word like London or whatever, London is now your player. So that is the thing that's going to get damaged if it's in the zone. So you have to not only make words off of the letters you're getting to score points, which then gets you money which you can spend on upgrades, but also you're having to use the words to move across the board like a snake almost. The way you eliminate other players is when you're next to each other, you can make a word that combines your word and theirs. And if you manage to link up the words, you destroy them. So, those really weird little short words that people know when they play Scrabble. They're kind of warning shots, and you're firing across at people with little, you make ox or whatever to try and join up or something like that. And it's genuinely really clever. It works really well. The UI is quite good. It's quite quick and quite thingy. I don't know if we can join up, but we should probably play it during the social if we can. If we can get in the same game. But yeah, no, it's a thing that I did not expect to have existed, but it's actually really, really good. It's kind of like how Tetris 99 really shook people, and they were like, oh crap, this is a really good game. And I would not expect Scrabble Battle Royale to be anything of note, but I genuinely really recommend it. It's called Babel Royale, if anyone wants to try it.
Cool.
I also obviously played Trouble 2. I tried to play Mini Rogue over lunch.
This is the game that Liv's played.
Yeah, I tried to play it over lunch, but the rule book is not very good. And because I was just playing it solo over lunch, and because I had people chatting next to me, I was struggling to read when words are in the background because of my brain. And yeah, I just could not get my head around it very easily because it was so all the information was so disparate, but also really dense, and it was just I don't understand what's happening here. I probably didn't give it the best chance in the world, but yeah, I was not impressed with how bad the rulebook is. But there you go. As far as games I'm planning to play for Christmas, apart from Camel Up and Cheating Moth, I think we tend to play. Matt, we watched a video about this recently, but we tend to play backgammon quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
because
wow!
Again, the same brother who's I'm hoping to play Camel Up with is really into backgammon, because I think people play it in his industry. I'm not sure why, but that's a thing.
Gambling, I guess.
Yeah, well, they do have that. You've got that double or nothing die, don't you? That you flip the sides and stuff. But I actually really like backgammon. I think it's genuinely a really good game.
Same these.
Yeah, I don't think it gets as much, national love as international love as things like chess and Go and checkers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I think backgammon's actually a really good game. It's a lot lighter as well. It feels there's still strategy involved, but there's a lot less.
It's a huge luck element as well.
Yeah, but in a sort of intentional way, it's meant to feel like a sort of gambling game. It's
I think it very much is designed around gambling, right?
Yeah, same as poker, right? Are you okay? What is happening in there?
Nate, I don't know what's happening in your flat.
Oh god, I never know what's happening in
your
flat. I think the green screen just chopped Zoe's hand off. Huh?
Mr. Whelan, please focus.
I'm
For what it's
sorry.
worth, the video Wills was referring to is Backgammon, the cruelest game in art by Games People Play, which is it's a really interesting video, and it's about the depiction of backgammon in art.
And it's on YouTube.
Versus things like chess. So I would recommend folks go and check it out.
I think in the same way that poker is, it's got that intentional sort of like, it is a luck game that you can influence rather than like it's pure strategy or whatever. But I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm looking forward to playing whatever the hell else I can sort of squeeze into a session. It's always that case of like, people are just sort of sat around doing nothing. I'm like, should I ask if they want to play a game? And they'll be like, yeah, well, all right, okay, never mind. Yeah. And now Toto has arrived. So Matt Jarvis.
How about you, Mr. Jarvis? What have you been playing, and what are you going to play? Tell us.
What have I been playing? Not very much, because it's been a very busy couple of weeks as we lead up to the end of the year, and there's been some other stuff going on outside of work, which even means that we've sadly delayed our Avatar RPG campaign a little for a couple of weeks now, which I was really enjoying, and I'm looking forward to getting back to at some point. But in terms of what I'm looking forward to playing, I have a copy of HeroQuest here, the re-released HeroQuest.
Wow!
Which Hasbro sent across. Not for any reason, they just sent it across. And I am interested to check it out, because I've not actually played HeroQuest, because it was before my time.
Yeah.
Like 89.
My only experience of HeroQuest is the best video ever, which is HeroQuest is the greatest game in the world. Broadsword. It is very good. Although I have played the Dungeons and Dragons board game, the one that they sell in like bookshops.
Just Dungeon, I think. Or you mean like a modern one, or
relatively modern?
Because the very first D&D board game was called D&D. Dungeon, I think. Right. Yeah, and I think that's the odd thing for me, is I've played so many games that are derivative of HeroQuest. Like, for instance, Descent this year is very much HeroQuest because it has 3D terrain, it's a dungeon crawler, it's an RPG in a box. But HeroQuest kind of did it first, but also HeroQuest is now 32 years old, 33 years old, something like that. So it'll be interesting to know whether, because this is just a straight kind of remake rather than a
repackaging, really,
rather than a reboot or a spiritual successor. They've made some very minor things. For instance, you can now play characters who aren't just like men. And also they've stripped all the Warhammer references out of the game, because originally it was a crossover between Milton Bradley, the big US toy company, and Games Workshop, obviously makers of Warhammer. So there were references to Warhammer in it.
I was going to say, this game I'm talking about is Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons board game, but I think this is before the purchasing and stuff like that. So it's also got like the classic D&D logo that you get on the on like Baldur's Gate 2 and stuff like that, which is very cool. But I remember buying that, or at least like asking for that for Christmas, because we were in Meehan, the big Borders.
Oh my goodness. The one in Watford?
The one near Watford, yeah.
Oh my God.
You probably know the big Borders as well, Matt. But yeah, no, there was like, I remember being in there as a kid at Christmas, and there were like a big stack of them, and I was like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons board game. Because back when I was like, a child and had less taste.
Whoa, come on now.
But I remember having a good time with that. It was basically just, it was a dungeon crawler board game.
Well, that's what I'm kind of like, particularly in this job. Like, I am very curious as to whether people's affection for HeroQuest is just pure nostalgia at this point, or if it still holds up
to it. Yeah,
because I know that we had a really good feature a number of months back now about the influence. I think it was Nick Rubin spoke to a number of designers, so like Isaac Childress of Gloomhaven and so on, like modern designers of things like Imperial Assault and like modern dungeon crawlers, and they all kind of cited HeroQuest as this game that inspired them to then make what you would consider the modern kind of classic dungeon crawlers. So it's interesting working the opposite way around and kind of going back to it. But I haven't played it yet, so I'm speaking in hypotheticals. But it'll be interesting to check it out.
I feel like if it's just a straight up like slight repackaging and a few changing of elements, I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit.
I think the biggest thing you'll run into, Matt, the biggest frustration is HeroQuest is from the era of games where it was like roll a d6 to see how far you move on like a square board. and I think you'll roll 1s and 2s a lot and think, oh god, when will this end?
Yeah, I don't remember if movement is D6 linked, but I will say like I said, there are a lot of dungeon crawlers out there, but even modern dungeon crawlers, sometimes they just feel kind of overwrought with rules.
Yeah.
Like they can just be overly complex. So if this just ends up being a very stripped back, like light and breezy, like 45-minute kind of run around dungeon and, hit skeleton with sword kind of thing, there might be kind of a pure enjoyment in that, but
it's like your everyday, Matt.
yeah. But I guess I'll find out if I play HeroQuest. The other thing that I would like to play at some point, which I believe we have a copy in the office, but I've not managed to be in the office for a number of weeks now, thanks COVID, is Halligalli, which I think has a different name, like Fruity 5 or Fruit Punch or something like that.
Yeah, we saw that. It looked weird.
Yeah, so this is a game that I discovered through Run BTS. Shout out to BTS. But they were playing it. It's actually
a nerd.
A classic. It's a game from like a couple of decades ago. But in short, it is a very light card game where each person turns over a card and each card has a number of fruit on it. And there is a bell in the middle. And if at any point there are exactly 5 fruit of the same type in any combination of cards, so there are some cards that just have 5 fruit on, it could be a 1 and a 4, 2 and a 3, but it has to be exactly 5 and they have to be the same fruit. Everyone has to race to hit the bell in the middle and take those cards.
So it's Jungle Speed.
Yeah. I've not played loads of Jungle Speed, so...
Yeah, Aaron Winmai says, yes, the inferior Jungle Speed.
Yes. Sounds
did
exactly
BTS
like
play Jungle Speed or did they play
Matt.
Seriously, Matt.
For goodness sake. Why play a game based on its merit? Why not play it based on the fact that a boy band from Korea played it?
They had a great time playing it, and they've got great taste in games. They play a lot of them. I will have you know.
Are you going to get them on... What would you do if we managed to get them on a video or something?
Well, I don't speak Korean, so it'd probably be quite awkward.
No,
if we had an interpreter, it'd be nice to just hang out.
That's the assumption, right? I'm not just going to drag them on and just be like, "Good luck." We have an interpreter.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what would you just be like? A full fan meltdown, or would you try?
No, probably not. I'm a professional. I've spoken to people whose work I enjoy and admire before, and I haven't ended up sobbing and saying, "Thanks so much, I love you."
So you wouldn't do a Troy meets LeVar Burton or whatever it is from Community?
No,
yeah, LeVar Burton, who the Reading Rainbow person.
Matt's a cool character.
Yeah, you're cool.
I am. Yeah, I'm often associated with my very calm and not at all anxious nature.
Can you let us know some of the other board games that BTS have played?
I believe they played The Resistance or some kind of werewolf.
Right. Because I need you to substantiate your claim that they have good taste in board games.
They do a lot of social deduction games, actually, and they do live action social deduction games, which are really good fun to watch. Genuinely, I would really recommend. Run BTS is a really good kind of half game show, half reality show. It's really
Matthew,
wholesome and fun.
Jarvis,
don't mock me for my hobbies.
I'm not mocking you.
Should we do a list on the website of the top 10 games played by BTS
have played?
Could do, yeah.
It'll probably get us quite a few clicks.
Yeah.
There's BTS branded Uno.
Is there?
Yes, there is, 100%.
Problem is,
I know what to get you for Christmas next year.
The problem is Uno has been forever killed for me because cheating off is just Uno but better.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Not that I was ever really that sold.
Did you ever have that Uno Extreme, the one that just spat cards all over the floor? It was thanks
everybody
very much.
Uno, everybody play. You might get no cards. You might get 8. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, I remember that.
Was that the
advert. Oh my
tagline?
god.
That was sorry, my bad, Matt. That was the song. Everybody Uno, everybody play. You might get no cards. You might get 8. It's Uno Extreme. This is an advert playing over a Nickelodeon show when you're 14.
Yeah.
Absolutely like a late 90s, early noughties advert
All it
style.
needed was someone to get gunged in it, and then
yeah. Or for 2 young boys to be like, ew,
Ew.
It's gross. I imagine that if that the card spitter was sentient from that Uno game, that it'll be like smoking a cigarette and just be like, "You want some more cards, eh?"
Well, Will, have you said what you're planning to play over the holiday? I can't remember where we got
I did,
to.
yeah,
This rambling conversation that's now about.
I'll be honest, I don't know where we're at
Extreme
anymore.
Machine. Look,
will
it's not
say
our
we
regular
didn't-
podcast format.
We didn't have Uno when we were younger. We had what?
You had what?
Spelled
What's what?
W-
I swear to God,
WHOT.
me and every game you've ever talked about playing with your family has been some weird knockoff. It's like you're from an alternate dimension.
I don't know
stepped
what was.
through. Yeah, we stepped through the doorway into this dimension. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly like Uno, but not branded by Hasbro.
But instead of saying I have Uno card left, you say what?
You say what?
What?
You do say what?
That
Why
seems
did you
highly
say what?
confusing.
Because it's called what?
Okay. All right then. Nothing to need clarifying there.
Hey, while we're talking about, as we've made this relatively festive themed, what other games do you do you associate with playing with your family, like classics? I remember like Rummy Cub was always one that we played, which is basically just Rummy but with tiles.
My dad is Irish, or at least his parents are Irish. He's second generation or whatever. So he has this whole library in his head of weird, confusing card games that don't make any sense, which seems to be like a theme for at least the part of Ireland that my family comes from. But yeah, no, there's I'm trying to remember the name of any of them, but is there one called like Camel or something like that, or Donkey?
Yeah.
Donkey. We played Donkey?
I haven't. I think the Camel is a playing card game as well, though.
We played Donkey at some point. I remember playing Donkey. I remember playing Rummy. I remember playing like Hearts. A lot of card games that I could not tell you how to play anymore. 3-card Knock as well. Have you played 3-card Knock?
Not by that name. I feel like there were a lot of card games where people will say, "Oh, I played this game all the time."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's like when you ask someone from England what a bread roll is called. 3-card Knock is the one. That was the one that I remember liking the most. Oh, this is called Knock Rummy, apparently.
Oh, okay. I played a lot of Rummy. I remember Rummy being
I've played Rummy a lot as well. We still play Rummy like a decent amount. Like
each branch of the family has their kind of like go-to card game where it's like, okay, this like particular set of grandparents plays Rummy, this set play Hearts. Like my grandma would just play Solitaire and ignore everybody else.
Your grandma's a legend. I mean, like for us as well, it is kind of similar because my mother was taught various card games by her mother, who was, obviously, taught by her mother. So there's like a sort of pass down the generation. But my mother used to play with her two sisters and her mother and her grandmother, who was apparently ruthless. And then she taught it to myself and my brother. And sometimes we get to play with her sisters when they're sort of around and when they're willing to do it. Because it was really funny, like on my birthday this year, both my aunts were there. And then we were trying to like cajole them into playing Old Maid with us, which I believe is another name for Hearts, right? Like it's
yes. I see. I don't know Old Maid. It's like a Hearts derivative thing.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to collect hearts, and then the Queen of Spades is the
Scabby Queen, as they call it in Sex Education.
Yeah, the Scabby Queen. Yeah, she's worth like the most points. But we were trying to get them to play with us, and it was a forbidden activity. Like the way that my aunt was like, "Oh no, like I can't. My husband."
The devil's
won't
game.
let me." And I was like, "What have you done?" Like maybe she was like a high stakes player or something, and she got into gambling with it. I don't know, but the way she was talking about, I can't play it. I was like,
wow.
what hidden past do you have with this game?
So I've remembered the rules for 3-card Knock if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
So the way it works is you're dealt each a hand of cards, and then there are 3 cards face up in front of you in the middle of the players. and on your turn, you take one of your cards and you swap it with one of the face-up ones. And the goal of the game is to make a set. So it could be like a run, or it could be like, 3 of the same type or whatever. But then you keep going back and forth, swapping hands in and out until you've got your hand. But then the game ends when one player doesn't take their turn but knocks instead. So it's kind of like posturing of like, I can't reveal that because I think they need that card. So I've got to like leave this one out, but I need it as well. So if they take that, then I'm screwed, kind of thing. Where it's like you're like waiting until the perfect moment to play the card that you know that they want, because then you can knock before they can grab it and stuff like that. And then you compare who has the better hand or something like that.
I'm pretty certain I have played this, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's played something very similar.
It's
like
very odd
kind
playing card games because you'll talk to someone who has played the same game as you, but with like one rule different, and it's got a completely different name. And like,
I think that's the really fascinating thing about card games, because there's almost
they're like memes, almost, aren't they?
Yeah, you could look up some of the rules on like online or something, but a lot of them are very like oral.
Yeah,
like history,
tradition,
almost tradition being passed down between families and friends and such.
Like house rules and variants and so on. It's like, oh, we play that, but this one tiny rule is different.
Yeah,
like how everyone plays Monopoly slightly differently, but that at least has a rule book. Whereas a lot of these, like you say, are just kind of spread by word of mouth.
And we obviously play. What's the non-sweary version of?
It's the game that Big Potato released as Dino Dump.
Bullcrap, yeah.
That one.
Dino Dump, yeah.
Dino Dump, which comes with stickers that smell like poo.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we don't play that version. We just play one with
it's designed for kids.
Cards,
as someone without a sense of smell, I went along to I was like a press event, and I lost multiple times and just had these stickers on me. It was only later on that someone was like, "Oh yeah, they smell like poo, right?" It's like, oh.
Thanks. Yeah, I played Bullcrap at college. If by that you mean Cheat, which is the other name for it, because Cheat was also available on Neopets.
No. I'm thinking of different. I'm thinking of Poo Head, but not Poo.
Isn't that also the same?
No, I think Cheat is different, isn't it?
Cheat is there is a stack of cards in the middle, and you're all trying to get rid of your hands. But you can say like, "Oh, I'm putting down 2 3s" or whatever. And everyone can be like, no, that's bullcrap because I've got 3 3s.
Yeah, see, that's different to the one I'm thinking of, which is you play face up, but each card has a different thing where it's like, okay, this works like a wild, or it resets it to 0. You have to play under 4. You have to play over like 7 acts like it's invisible, so you can play against the card underneath.
Oh wait, I have played
McNamara
that.
just says, "I'm concerned by this game, Mr. Jarvis."
It's the other word for poo, and then the word head.
Yeah. I think I played both, maybe, and I'm getting them mixed up.
Again, like this is the weird thing, right? It's like they have so many different names. Like I played so much Whist as a child, and when I was looking into a game, I was like, "This is just." I think it was Fox in the Forest.
Yeah,
just like this is just like Whist.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find anyone making that comparison, but they were comparing it to a different card game that I then realized was just Whist by a different name.
Yeah.
Whist is like very trick takey. Yeah.
I remember in Donkey, you didn't have any winners. It was just one person ended up as the donkey. It was like, oh, you're the donkey, you lose. Which I think
donkeys.
That's a real.
Sorry, you're a donkey. That's it.
Well, the alternate name for donkey is ass, isn't it? So we have a super chat from Scott Perkins. He says, "My family have a strange house rule in Uno where instead of saying Uno, we knock on the table. People often think I'm insane." I don't know if that's.
No, I think that's perfully because normally you knock to like signify that's a checking in poker and
very
stuff,
common
right?
thing in card games. I think knocking on the table because it's just. I think card games have a tradition of like old white people playing them in parlors, sort of smoking on cigars and not actually talking to each other.
White men.
Yeah, so they're just like. All that kind of stuff, shoving their chips in the for some reason, one of the most social activities in the world. They've developed a whole language where they don't have to talk to each other to play it.
Yeah, and I think because it's money, right? So you don't want to give away any kind of like in poker when people just keep it very stoic because they don't want to betray what they might be holding. I played a lot of blackjack. Speaking of which,
Yeah, I don't mind blackjack.
A lot of blackjack. Blackjack is mostly just luck.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone in chat will disagree. I'm sure there are people who can play
Is that just
blackjack.
21?
Yeah, it's 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
Right.
8 names. For
Right,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, we played a lot of 21 when we were kids. Like, I've not played it so much anymore because it just feels very simple. Does that make sense?
It's like, do you want another card? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You went over.
It's way more manageable, but also like I've only been to a real casino once, and I kind of hated it because I don't really like gambling in general. But I played blackjack because I was like, I know how to play blackjack, so I'll do that because I did not want to sit on a poker table. And roulette's just sort of throwing dice and seeing what happens. So I was playing blackjack, but the speed at which people play it in a casino, you're just like, yeah, I'll have a card, please. And like, I think most of the money I lost was just me not being able to keep up. Like, I think they just kind of try and like make it real quick, so you can't really think too much about what you're doing.
Casinos are obviously designed to just rake in money from
traps, is what they are. Yeah.
Have either of you ever played Pit? That's the other kind of very like, it always comes out around Christmas with a certain branch of the family.
Nope.
Pit is a very loud game where you have a hand of cards, and they are simple resources like wheat and I think brick and stuff like that. Those kinds of resources, like your kind of Catan goods, and you trade face down, and you trade a specific number of cards. And then you will just say how many cards you have. So you're not giving away what you're giving away, just how many cards, because then you have to equal someone else that's trading the same number. So you could have a wheat and a brick, or whatever it may be, 5 wheat, and you'll just be like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
I've heard of this.
Everyone's doing that at the same
I've heard
time.
of, like, a different version where it's not resources.
Yeah, and there's a bull and a bear as well when you don't want the bull, I think, or the bear. I don't know. It's something like that. You can't win if you have one of them, but you can win if you have the other, but only a particular. But it's really fun. It's very chaotic. It's very noisy. I think it originated in the 1920s or something like that. But it's interesting because there are similar kind of trading rounds in the original Civilization board game. It works in a very similar way, but there you're trading potentially like calamities as well for their empire. I will say there was a game a couple of years ago called Trading on the Tigris, which just like pulled the trading round of Civilization out of the rest of it, and it was really good. I think it kind of like a lot of people it flew under the radar for. That's
kind of how
I really enjoyed it.
Is it sidereal confluence?
Oh yeah,
works. Yeah, where it's literally just time starts, you're making deals, and then you have a certain color of cube that other people need, but you don't, and you need their color so that you can just like upgrade things and fill slots and all that kind of stuff. But it is literally just go out and make a deal. Like there's no established rules. It's like I'll give you 2 for this, but if everyone else has already made it, then you're just like
I love those kind of games when it's built into the rules. Like I think it breaks Monopoly, right, when people start trading outside of what you should be doing, because then it just drags on and on and on. But actually when the rules are designed to allow for very flexible like almost like meta trading, where it's like we'll strike a deal, and it's not about just like tangible good. It's about like, hey, you help me out on this turn, or you move your like units over here, or whatever it may be. Like I really love games like that.
Yeah. Well, that's politics, really, isn't it? Like that's
politics.
That's politics. Like that's what pretty much all like classical wars were fought over. It's like I will give you a deal to do this and this, and that is why World War I happened, because it was just every single country in Europe had made some kind of
agreement. Yeah, it's why diplomacy, which is set I think in the lead up to World War One, is so fun, because you can say whatever you want to someone else, and then you all submit your turns simultaneously in secret, so you can be like yeah don't worry, I'll move out of there, and then just not which is why it's like this notorious like friendship breaking game, because you're just straight up lying to each other. But diplomacy is great. That's a perfect Christmas game. Like,
you
just
won't
in
have
case
a
the family arguments
that.
in the structure of a game. And
I will say, me and my brothers used to play a lot of Risk at Christmas. I used to love playing Risk. That was one of the first board games that I used to really love. When I was very, very young. Never did anything on it correctly. Like we didn't do the trading rule. You know, the one where you get cards when you take countries or whatever, and then you trade.
I don't remember that because I mainly
reinforcements?
played Lord of the Rings Risk, so I think the rules were different.
So
there.
we played Lord of the Rings Risk as well, but we didn't play any of the Lord of the Rings bit. We just played Risk with a Lord of the Rings map. But we also didn't play proper Risk because we didn't do any of the reinforcement cards. So the first time, I remember playing like a digital version of Risk with some friends. The first time we ever played it, I was like, what the hell are these cards? What's going on? Like, and I was like, is this why our games took so long? Because we were literally just doing the amount of reinforcements you get from your countries. And it was,
Aaron Winmine points out that Lord of the Rings Risk also has the cards, which I clearly just forgot. And probably, it sounds like I probably didn't play with them either. So.
There you go then. I think when you're that age, you don't actually read rulebooks. You're just like, oh yeah, we all know how to play Risk, right?
Yeah, you just roll the dice and move. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But there we go.
There we go. Any other classics or recommendations for the holidays before we close out this podcast?
I had an absolutely lovely time when I introduced my family to Bang the Dice game. Which is
and Bang the Dice game.
And Meehan.
It slaps. Yeah, it slaps.
It's a great game.
It's one of the best hidden role games out there. I'm going to throw it out there. And the reason being, it's so slapstick. Like, it's such a silly, funny game. All you have to do is sit around the table, get the person who is like the most comedic in your family to play the sheriff. In that case, it was my dad, who was just like a walking dad joke book. We made him be the sheriff, and it went completely to his head, and it was hilarious. And then you put on the Red Dead Redemption soundtrack in the background, and that's it, done. Like, I defy anyone to not think board games are fun after doing that. You know, like it's just great. But if you haven't played Bang the Dice game, like it's just a hidden role game. You know, with teams, you're trying to defeat the other teams, but instead of doing objectives or whatever,
element.
Yeah, instead of doing objectives or whatever, you just have dice that you kind of push your lot roll to try and shoot people around the table or to like heal yourself or whatever. And if you roll 3 dynamite, then you accidentally explode yourself. And it's just
great.
It's fantastic. It's just brilliant. There's characters which have their own like custom skills and all that kind of stuff. It's just fantastic. And some of them are completely overpowered. It's great.
For me, it's all about Rhino Hero.
Hero, yes.
There we go.
Yeah, we stand Rhino Hero in this.
We do
in this corner. It's a game that my mother and my brother really like. They can get on board with because it's so simple to teach, and yet the possibility of amusements is so high. So I'll probably bring Rhino Hero back, and you never know. One day I might try them out with Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Rhino Hero Super Battle. Rhino Hero Super Battle.
It's been a while. Next time I'm in the office, let's play Rhino Hero because it's probably been a good couple of years now since we played it.
Super Battle is sat under my desk because I still haven't brought it.
You can't
home.
let it go.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I'll close out by saying, of course, as many people play Monopoly over the holidays, I'll give a shout out for Monopoly Deal, which I wrote a piece on a little while back, but I still think is the best Monopoly you can play.
Monopoly Deal.
So if your family, like, if you don't think you can convince them to play anything that's not Monopoly, like, this is maybe at least like a loophole to that rule. And I think the reason it works is that it's the bits of Monopoly that are actually good. So it's the trading, it's the kind of being mean to each other and being, really just like going at each other about trying to get properties, but it doesn't have any of the bits that bog it down, like moving around and drawing cards and having to worry about all of that. It is just pure, you're looking for a set of houses, like, go. And you can, like, it's basically being like horrible to each other, which is in Monopoly, but that's spread out over like 4 or 5 hours. But in Monopoly Deal, it's like 15 minutes. So it works without feeling just exhausting. So yeah, and it's readily available as Monopoly is. So I would recommend it if, like I say, if you are really struggling to get your family to turn away from anything that isn't Monopoly, like, it's Monopoly.
I just have one more thing to add that I've just noticed. Where in my wardrobe where my drawers used to be, and they are no longer there because they broke. there is now a gap, and I've got like 2 baskets with like jumpers in them, and like looking there, it looks like there's a little face like looking out from there at me. Honestly, like it's like one of my sweats. Can you see? It's like peering out.
Oh no, there's a boy in the walls. It's every horror film from the early 10s.
Well, it looks a little bit like you, Mr. Whelan.
That's very rude.
Oh, sweater face Whelan.
Okay. All right.
With that, that is
cool.
a healthy offering of recommendations to play over the holidays.
Will be the name of this podcast.
I say there is in fact one more Dicebreaker podcast to come for the year of 2021, but we've already recorded it, so it's not live because we won't be here. We'll be off playing any number of these games.
For anyone who's about to watch our Games of the Year recommendations video, which is going out on Sunday, you'll notice that in the podcast the week after, as I mentioned in the video, I'm talking about Heart the City Beneath, which did not come out this year. And I only realised just before we were recording the video, and I had to go, oh crap. And then I realised that for some reason I hadn't mentioned my actual The Game of the Year, which when I reviewed it, my question was, my God, this could be the Game of the Year already, and it was in like June. So yeah, I'm just an idiot. So have fun with that one.
Still a great game. So, if you haven't picked it up, go and pick it up. And then you got one extra game recommendation anyway.
It's true.
But yeah, so join us for that. But we won't be back next Friday with a Dicebreaker podcast. We'll be off having a good holiday time. And we hope you do too. Obviously, stay safe out there, wherever you may be. We hope you enjoy the holidays and have a restful and relaxing one. But for this year-ish, we've been Dicebreaker. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for just listening this year. If you've checked in, whether you've listened to one or whether you've listened to all 87, had to check quickly.
Almost 100. What are we going to do for the 100th episode, Matt?
Probably the same thing we do every night, Pinky. Talk
Try
about
to take
board
over the
games
world.
for 10 minutes, then talk about something else for the remaining hour and 15.
Please call me Pinky for the rest of our careers together.
Pinky Sweaterface.
I don't know, Brian.
Thank you, as always, for being here. Alex Meehan.
Pinky Sweaterface sounds like the name of a gangster from the 1920s.
That should have been your Red Dead character.
Pinky Sweaterface.
They say Pinky Sweaterface is the fastest gunslinger. Thank you, Michael Wills Whelan.
Also known as Pinky Sweaterface. You're very welcome. It's been a lovely year, and here's to a good one next year as well.
So sincere. Thank you. Thank you to me. Thanks, of course, to Liv Kennedy, who isn't here at the moment, but is on many of these podcasts if you go back. The other member. And thanks to Chase Carter, who is our wonderful news reporter as well. And thanks to all our contributors who have also contributed to various videos and articles on the website over the last year. We appreciate it all. And thanks to you, dear listeners and viewers, for supporting us and letting us do what we do. I've been Matt Jarvis. This has been the last live Dicebreaker podcast of 2021. We'll see you in 2022. Till then, Happy New Year and Happy Holidays, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Bye.